Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. As I'm pretty sure you're already aware, Evony has gone on a vindictive spree of wiping accounts across all servers of resources, gems, gold, and in some cases suspending accounts. We're all used to Evony's awful game management. The constant release of terrible features designed not to improve the game, but to force players to sink more money into improving their kingdoms. Let me be clear, fair gameplay is a good thing. Should ALTS and botting exist in the game? Absolutely not. The problem that players have with what the developers are doing has less to do with the purpose and a whole lot more to do with the approach. I completely agree with Evony being a game where botting and ALTS are not part of the gameplay. It's not a good thing for a game to rely on alternate accounts just to get by. Players should not be forced into gathering across multiple accounts just to be able to progress. It should come naturally with time spent playing the game. I've been saying this for years. As long as the game is designed in a way where having multiple accounts is advantageous to growth, players are going to do it. Evony developers have limited options with controlling this. Option 1 is that they can change the game in such a way that main accounts don't benefit from the resources that other players have gathered. They can reduce or eliminate the ability to transfer or plunder resources from other kingdoms directly, and instead have some kind of other feature in the game to allow players to trade resources in an indirect and controlled environment. The downside to this is that it changes the gameplay. What then becomes the purpose of attacking other players in the game when the resources are not plunderable? Just killing troops alone will not be enough for most players, so a new feature would have to be added to encourage PvP. Option 2 is to keep it as it is, and recognize that they've created a game where cheating and multiple accounts is rampant. They can ignore it and let the game continue as it is. Obviously, the downside to this is that it creates an imbalance in gameplay due to the huge advantages of farm accounts and botting. Option 3 is to keep the game as it is and police players by punishing farm accounts and botters. This seems to be the road that the developers have decided to go down. There's nothing inherently bad about punishing cheating, and in the long road, most developers decide to do this as it's a lot of work to redesign a game that's already built. Redesigning a game could alienate some players that prefer the game they are already playing. As I mentioned before, this all comes down to the approach. In a world where Evony developers actually communicated with the player base as a professional company would, they would give ample notice of changes that could affect their players. They would say, hey people, we recognize that multiple accounts and botting is an issue in this game. We want to create a fair gaming environment where players that use third-party software or that have multiple accounts don't have an advantage over others. And so on July 1st, we will start implementing strict consequences on accounts that have been flagged. We do recognize that a significant population in our game currently have multiple accounts, so we are giving forewarning of these updated practices. We also recognize that the costs required for progression in the game are a concern. Therefore, we will be reevaluating these figures to compensate for the changes to policy. With communication, players could make a decision to abide by the rules of the game or not. If players continued on the same path, Evony's policing of accounts would be warranted, and players wouldn't be as infuriated as they are now. Players that choose to stop using multiple accounts would expect the policing of botting and multiple accounts to be rigorous and thorough, as it should be. Players that choose to continue would have no real voice, as forewarning had been given. However, Evony developers, perhaps unsurprisingly, decided to be vindictive in their approach. They likely saw that their revenue had decreased a few weeks ago following the release of their amplification feature designed to force players to spend more, and started looking for a way to take it out on players. With this recent maneuver, players are outraged and stuck in a difficult position. Without communication and consistency, players have no idea whether this policing will continue or whether Evony developers will go back to not caring. Not all players were affected in the same way. Some people tell me that their alts were unaffected. Others had multiple accounts affected. Something like this has happened before, and then it all went back to the status quo. Should players continue as they were and risk it? Should they stop using their alts? If they stop and others continue with no further policing, they will be falling further and further behind in an already imbalanced game. If they continue, what exactly will be the punishments? Zeroing of the alts? Punishment on the main account similar to what we saw with pink gems? There are so many questions, and it's absolutely ridiculous that there should be any at all. With something like this, you need to go all out or not at all. And above all, there needs to be communication with the players. Players will choose to stop playing this game rather than continue and remain fearful of when or if this will become a problem for them. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on the Miser's Guide to Evony. I'll see you in the next video.